Hey, it's your buddy, Alonzo, AVT Pro. I want to say something. Um, when you plant a garden, when you plant a garden, you plant your seeds, and the flowers will grow in the seeds, and then all of a sudden, weeds will come up, and you have the weeds, and they start to wrap around and the flowers, your beautiful flowers that you planted in your garden, and the weeds start to choke the flowers, and because they wrap around them, and they'll pull down and destroy your garden, and just make it look bad and everything, you know. And so what you want to do is go in there and pull out the weeds, but they're wrapped and they're tangled amongst the flowers so tightly that if you pull out the weeds, they in turn will pull out the flowers. They're so wrapped and tightly around it. So what you do is in gardening is you allow, you can go in there and pull out each one. Yes, but sometimes what you do, or a wise gardener, or if you have a crop or something like that, you'll let the flowers grow until they're strong and steady, and so you just continue to let them grow, and you let the weeds grow with the flowers, and so that the flowers can be strong enough so when you decide to separate them, they will not be destroyed. The flowers will not be destroyed when you separate them, okay? Because they're so tangled up together, the mishmash, the flowers and the weeds grow together. The sun shines on the just as well as the just, and so does the rain falls on the good as well as the bad. Okay, so the rain doesn't fall on one roof. Okay, the good and the bad grows up together in the garden. Okay, and so the just and the unjust, and so they're allowed to grow up with it. So the problem is oftentimes is that the unjust, the immoral, is often tripping because of this. They often think like, look, I'm doing all the dirt and evil I want, and it's good because God ain't gonna do nothing. There is no God, there is no authority, there is no punishment, there is no recompense. I could do whatever the heck I want. If there was a God, why is he letting this evil happen? And oftentimes, it's just merely because he loves his children, his believers, that he'll let the weeds grow up with them for their sake. So yeah, they're choking you, but it's for your own good to make you stronger. And one day when you're strong enough, then he'll pull the weeds out and you will not be affected. So a lots of times, let me say this to the unjust, and you think you've gotten away with a lot of stuff, or that you're going to get away with it, or there is no God, and that you can do what the heck you want, and you can beat down the children of God and the Lord. Let me say something about Abraham and Sodom and Gomorrah. There was a situation where God said, hey, let us go down and check out and see what the woes of the people cry about, the sins, the gang rapes, and the things like that that is happening, the homosexual gang rapes and all that stuff. Let's go see if it's as bad as it is. And then Abraham said to God, God told Abraham, because he says, Abraham is going to be a great nation. He's going to grow up, and there's going to be millions from Abraham's lineage. And so Let's tell him. And so Abraham was a bit of a trip. God said, hey, we're going down. We're going to check it out first and see if it's true. We've heard the cries of people, and we're going to go check it out and see if it's true or not. And so Abraham is a trip. Abraham says, well, Lord, if there's, I know you're going to go down there and destroy it. Now, Abraham's brother was down there. Okay. Abraham's brother and his family. So his whole crew, his family, his wives and stuff like that, his daughters, husbands that married to be, and all that stuff. That whole crew was down there, his clan. Okay, and they're living amongst the city, amongst the wicked. Okay, and God's gonna tear it down. Okay, and so Abraham is negotiating. And he's negotiating with God, and God cares. You know, he says, Abraham says to God, Lord, for 50 people. Now that pretty much includes his crew, you know, Lot's crew. He says, Lord, for 50 people, you know, would you save them? Would you not destroy the city? And Abraham is slick, and this is what you gotta like about it. He says, far be it from you to just sweep away your children, your believer, the righteous. Far be it for you to punish the righteous with the good. So lots of times, God is literally not punishing the wicked. God said, okay, for the sake of 50, I will not destroy the whole city, the whole plain, and everything of Sodom and Gomorrah. For the sake of 50, a whole city will be saved. And so God cares, right? And so God said, you know, and so it's really funny, really, because he says, you know, that's a whole lot. For 50 people, you're going to let the whole city of evildoers, sinners, and everything. But for those that, so what I'm saying is a lot of wicked people think that they get away with stuff for the sake of God not paying attention or not wanting to give you what you deserve. Really, it's for those Christians that you trying to knock out and put out of the schools. So when you get rid of them, you ain't got nothing to save you. You know, that's the point I'm trying to make. And that's the part to me that I find a lot of humor in what God says. You know, it's interesting. Let me say not humor, but interesting. You know, gotta look on the bright side. So, you know, lots of people, and so I'm also saying this for the people who say, well, why did this happen to me? Why did God allow this weed, to come up or this terrible thing to happen to me? Because oftentimes it's for your sake to let you develop and let you grow. That, you know, that we also, you know, some of these evil things are allowed to happen, you know, is actually to your benefit, because all things work to the benefit of those who love the Lord. So I just to finish the survey, and I got two more minutes. Then Lot said, well, for the sake of 40 people, would you save the whole city? Would you save the city? And God said, yeah, okay, Abraham, you know, for the sake of 40 people, I'll save it. Then he said, for the sake of 30. And God so loved him, and he said, far be it from you to sweep away the righteous. You know, God will watch out for his own. Okay, so far be it from him to sweep away the righteous. And so he says, okay, all right. He said, for the sake of 10. So they got down to the city. They could not find 10. There was not there. And the other people thought, you know, they even went to Lot's wives, Lot's daughter's wife, and they thought that Lot was joking. Okay, so they didn't save them. So he said, the angels told Lot, take your two daughters and your wife and get out of Dodge. And Lot said, he said, get out of Dodge, run to the mountains. And Lot said, I'll never make it to the mountains, Lord. Can I run to this nearby city on a plane? And God said, okay. He says, I will not destroy that city that's on the plain. There's another city offshoot of Sodom and Gomorrah. And for the sake of the one, Lot, basically Lot, it was Lot because he had his two men, and Lot was Abram's brother, which is the seed of Abraham, is also part of the seed. So it was for the sake of Lot, and the one woman looked back. His wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. So, for the sake of Lot, for the sake of one, God said, "I will not destroy the city on the plain, that city separated. For the sake of one, He says, I'll get rid of the evil, but I have a place for you in this one little city that's playing, and I will not destroy the other cities until you get to there." That one is Jesus Christ. For the sake of one, we are saved. Because He died for our sins. If you go into this little small city, this little place that the Lord prepared for you, that's what Jesus represents. So He would not destroy the whole city for the sake of one. So that's my message, and God bless you all. Love you all.